Have you ever finished a day and found yourself wondering, why did I feel so busy and yet unproductive? Why is there so much more to do? And I feel like I did a ton, but it doesn't seem like anything I did really mattered. I'm exhausted, but unfulfilled. So you were doing things, you were moving, you were checking boxes, you were multitasking, helping others like a pro, doing the things, but deep down, you weren't focused. It didn't feel good. It wasn't clean work. And y'all, that is distraction. It's not the kind that's easy to spot. We know when we're scrolling, we know when we zone out. It's the sneaky kind of distraction, the kind that feels like productivity, but is actually keeping you stuck. And today I want to be bold and we're going to coach on this. Distraction is not just a bad habit, it's the enemy. It's the enemy of your dreams. It's the enemy of your focus. It's the enemy of your peace. It's the enemy of your confidence. It is the enemy of the big life, of the meaningful, the impactful life that you want to live. And here's the thing, it's not loud. It's quiet. It's convenient. It convinces you that you're doing enough while silently pulling you away from what matters most to you. So in this episode, I'm going to be pulling back the curtain, exposing the truth about this subtle distraction that is making you feel unfulfilled and unproductive at the end of the day, and especially how high achievers and driven people get trapped into it unintentionally. And we're going to talk about giving you some real tools to fight back at this, because distraction is the enemy. And if you want to live a focused, fruitful, and fulfilled life, distraction can't be calling the shots anymore. You're listening to the Confidence Podcast, where we do confidence coaching for driven, high-achieving women who want more. Because high-achieving women deserve high-level confidence. I'm your host, Trish Blackwell. Let's get started. Hey guys, it's Trish Blackwell, and you're listening to the Confidence Podcast. This is episode 661, and I am stoked that you are here and listening to the show. If it's your first time, welcome. We drop new episodes every Tuesday. I am committed to giving you real life application tools that are easy to implement into your life to help you think better, live better, feel better, do better, be better in this world. And that is why I'm passionate about confidence, because it is a muscle that every one of us, no matter your level of success, no matter your background, no matter your goals, the more you improve your confidence, the more the results in your life will improve. So welcome to the show. If you're not yet following, subscribing, hit that subscribe button. If this is your second episode that you've listened and you haven't yet hit follow, please do. It helps us in the algorithm. It helps us serendipitously appear in suggestions for other people. And that could very well change the trajectory of their life, their confidence, all the things. So pay it forward if you don't mind. Leave a review, hit those 5-star on Spotify, and follow the show. Let's dive into coaching. We're going straight to the good stuff. Okay, let's talk about distraction. You already heard the intro. Distraction is the enemy. And distraction is the art of, not the art, but it is an art. Sometimes we don't even know what's happening. It's the act of letting our focus be hijacked. And sometimes it's hijacked by noise, busyness, overcommitment, fear, habits that feel urgent but aren't important. And when left unchecked, distraction becomes the silent killer of dreams. My greatest passion, and the thing I think that God has put me here on earth to do, is to see potential in people. I love helping others see what I see in them, which is extraordinary potential, capacity. The leaders and the world changers of our future are you. And I see it in you. I know what you have in you. And so for me, I am passionately adamant here in saying we've got to fight distraction like it's an actual enemy, because what it's going to do is, if it doesn't absolutely destroy your dream, it puts your dreams in slow motion. Distraction is the destruction of your dreams in slow motion. And we say, well, I'm working on this, but we're doing half-focused work. I want your dream to get your all in. And distraction derails you when you don't know what It happens because we don't know what we want clearly enough. And so we think we know what we want. We're going after that dream. We're going over that body transformation. We're going over after that financial goal or that business breakthrough or career change. And then we're like, well, and I also want to do this. And I also want to do this. And when you spread yourself too thin, you cannot be focused on the goal that you want. It's no different than kids' sports. Everyone starts as kind of generalists, right? You put your kid in every sport, get them exposed, see what they like, and then figure out what they really love and then go for that. You can't have one kid unless you truly have all the time in the world. You can't do 7 or 8 sports at one time. I mean, you could, but that would be all that you're doing and you wouldn't be very good at one. You have to decide, what is that I want? Distraction is anything that pulls your attention away from what truly matters, whether it's your goals, your values, your priorities, or the present moment. And so your distraction might be happening because you have fear. We mentioned distraction is sometimes fear. It's avoidance of following through on maybe checking data, checking in, creating a better system, or we are procrastinating because we want to be distracted with something that has a quicker dopamine hit to us, watching Netflix, a quick win, and we forget what really matters to us. When I was first writing my first book, I've written 3. I've written a few ebooks as well, but my very first book I wrote when I was in my 20s, and it was a passion project. It was absolutely the dream. One, I had always dreamt of being an author that ever since I was a little girl. And then when I lived in France and was really getting healed from my body image and this like transformative year of my life, it was life-changing. And I had so much breakthrough in my body image and eating disorder. I just felt compelled and called to write a book about how to change the way you think about your body and how to see yourself in a different way. And that was my first book, The Skinny, Sexy Mind. And I remember writing it and I was still struggling with the words to say it, right? It was all still very new concepts, but I still felt like I have gold and I need to share it with others. I felt so trapped, so imprisoned, so dark in my struggle that I wanted to write a book that would help others who were like me feel hope. And so that was the compelling vision and reason. And I can remember being single in my 20s, and I worked at a really fun place with a lot of young people, and we were all fit and we all did a lot of fun things. And everyone was out partying. Everyone was out doing things every Thursday night, every Friday night. And I remember going, hey guys, I can't. I'll come on Saturday. I'll hang out. I'll do the barbecue with you Saturday after we have a great workout. I got to write my book. And mind you, this was not the Trish who has written multiple books and knows that she's a good writer and stuff. This was the Trish that said, I just got to do it. I got to prove to myself I can do it. So I had to stay focused, and I had to have very good systems in my house to not have the TV on at certain times. Because I got to tell you what, on a Friday night, it is a lot easier to throw on a movie than to write a book that you don't know if anybody's ever going to read, when all of your friends are out having fun. But you stay so focused on the goal that you cannot allow yourself to be distracted when you know what you want clearly enough. So I had the vision of someone like me finding hope in the pages that I wrote. That vision was strong enough that I was able to say no to the distractions that would have come. And guys, this was honestly, for those of you who are in their 40s like me, this was when Netflix had just come out. I can remember one night I was writing, and this was when Netflix sent you CDs or DVDs in the mail. And I remember having gone to my mailbox, and I had been waiting for like 2 new DVDs, and they came in, and I was like, oh, I got to watch these. And I was like, no, you have to write whatever next chapter it was. And so you have to know yourself well enough to know the distractions are going to come. This is not a question of discipline. It's the decision of reminding yourself, what do I care more about, the goal or the quick fix entertainment? And I had to remind myself, if I take the bait, if I bite the distraction, I know it's a slippery slope. 30 minutes of TV becomes an hour and a half of TV for me, right? Distraction is the destruction of your dreams in slow-mo. And so it's so interesting in such a fast-paced culture where we want everything instantaneously. I ordered something from Amazon last night, and my daughter was like, wait, it's not going to be here before I go to school. I'm like, it's baby, it's like 7 p.m. and we're ordering this. It's still going to come tomorrow within 12 hours. It just wasn't going to come within 10 hours. That's the culture we're used to. Yet our dreams are not instant. And so because of that, we push them off and make them even longer off in the distance they need to. Distraction happens because sometimes we don't know what we actually want. We say we know what we want, but then we don't go and do the business of daily reminding ourselves of why we want it. This is why journaling is so critical. This is why setting your mind, setting your intentions, and using daily affirmations to remind yourself of what you're fighting for, what you're believing for, what you're showing up for, what you're building in your life, of having a clear vision of what you want your future to be, who you want to be in your future, your 2.0 self. And if that's all you're like, okay, how do I start on those core things? All of those are in my courses. One, you can learn everything you need to know about journaling in my journaling mastery bundle. And then in my consistency and growth system, that is where you're going to figure out, how do I create the 2.0 self and know what I want for my future? So those are all linked in the show notes. But you got to know what you want, and you got to know why you want it. And sometimes we get distracted because we water down the dream. We water down what really, really matters and what is fulfilling to us. We then, because we're watering it down, and we start saying yes to everything, probably because of people pleasing, probably because we want to be the people who can do it all. But then we're being foolish to think that we can do it all well. It's like it's the parent who thinks they can put their kid in 17 sports and the kid's going to be the best in all 17. The kid's going to be good. I don't care how athletic you are. You won't be the best unless you commit to that one thing. And so overextending ourselves as high achievers, we're like, oh, but I can do it all. I am, but guys, by the way, not hypocritical here, raising my hand to say I was guilty of this. Overextending and saying I can do it. And the reality is I can do it all, but can I do it all well? And can I do the priorities that matter to me? So this is where you've got to know what matters to you. And sometimes we downplay and water down what matters to us because, one, it's not that we don't know we want it, but we don't actually believe it's available to us. You've got to do the belief work behind believing that you know what's available to you. And that comes from doing journaling, from thought plans, from affirmations, from intentions. The affirmations course and teaching I have is also should be in the show notes. But it's an undisciplined mind. Distraction happens because we're undisciplined in reminding ourselves of what we're believing for and showing up for in our life. And it's a result of the habit of not setting a daily intention or a focus for our day. I love, on a daily basis in my journal, I write an affirmation and then I set an intention. Here's how I'm going to show up as a wife today. Here's how I'm going to show up in my business today. Here's what I'm believing is possible for me physically today. I have some physical goals that are related to flexibility that just seem ridiculous, but I'm like, physically speaking, this is possible. Now I have some rehab, I have some MRI things, I have some challenges and injuries I'm overcoming to get that. So this is the long-term vision. But I'm reminding myself that I'm going to be more flexible in my 40s than I was in my 30s. That I'm going to be fitter in my 40s than I was in my 20s. And I keep reminding myself of that belief, and that belief, that decision, keeps informing my nutrition, my movement, my stretching, my priorities, my habits. Because the truth is, high achievers don't often get distracted by obvious time wasters. You're not like intentionally in the middle of the workday scrolling like some of your coworkers. But you get distracted by things that, wait for it, look productive. They look responsible. They look noble. Maybe it's volunteering for a board that you shouldn't be volunteering for, or saying yes to everything because it looks like the right thing to do. Or maybe it's learning something new and making sure you really, really know the next thing and over preparing so that it's hard to say no to education and learning, but is it a good use of your time based on your goals? And so the main way that high achievers get distracted, often without realizing it, is overcommitting to good things. So saying yes to too many opportunities, roles, responsibilities, serving everyone but themselves, and being pulled in too many directions, because that will dilute your deepest focus. So it's distraction disguised as service or ambition. And it's not that I don't want you to do these things, but these things should come secondary to the primary goal, because your primary goals are going to have a larger encompassing impact either on your family, on your culture, on your community, on the thing that you're passionate about. And then you can serve in these other ways. The other high achiever distraction is perfectionism. I mean, y'all, for me, this was the existence and honestly, the personality identity that I claimed. And I'm going to make sure we link some episodes in the show notes on perfectionism, but it is, look, let's be done with the propaganda of being a perfectionist. It's not who you are. It's a mindset habit that you've taught yourself, and it's a justification of the wrong prioritization, right? The wrong pursuit of goals. It's obsessing over details that don't matter in the long run. I'm going to say that one again. It's obsessing over details that don't matter in the long run or make things better. It's delaying action and waiting for the perfect time. So for when it's so that you can get it right. It's constant tweaking instead of executing. It's distraction disguised as excellence. Now, we also have people pleasing and managing other people's perceptions, which is distraction disguised as kindness or professionalism, which comes off as worrying too much what people think, rewriting an email 5 times, or second guessing your decision, taking 3 hours to do a project or do a report that could have been done in 20 to 30 minutes if you focused your brain. There are times, side note, there are times when I can say, ooh, I could get this done, and my brain doesn't want to do the hard thinking. And this is where you come in as a high achiever to yourself and say, I have the capacity to turn my focus on. I'm going to hyper focus, make these hard mental decisions, and get this done in 15 minutes. Because if you don't do that, you can indulge in the slight distraction of saying, hey, I'm still focused, I'm working on it. But you and I both know there's a difference between high level execution of focus and sort of like mediocre paced thinking. And I'm not saying there's not a time for both, but when you do want to get things done, call yourself out on it. Have a higher level of self accountability on that. And so redirect your energy towards what matters versus just towards, well, I'm working on the project, right? And often there's another category that is distraction disguised as self-improvement. And I know, so many of us fall into this, which is consuming more than creating. We spend so much time constantly learning, reading, listening, but never applying. And research becomes procrastination. And this done in podcasts, of course, never this podcast, not this podcast. Podcasts, YouTube, books that feel like growth but can numb momentum, because while you're reading that new Mel Robbins book, you are not showing up for the writing date or the ads analysis or the business acquisition and seed planting and cold calls or cold emails that you were going to dedicate that night to for an hour. Now, growth is growth. I'm down for that, but I have absolute 100% belief that you are capable of more than you think you are and that you will achieve your goals. My goal as your coach is to help you accelerate your success. I don't want your dreams to be achieved on slow motion. If you can reach a dream in the next 3 years, I'd like it to be in the next 3 years, not the next 13. We also get distracted with business and task addiction, meaning we obsess over our to-do lists, or maybe you're obsessing over inbox 0 or something that you said, oh, this is what like next level is. But is it? And does it matter too? For some people it will, but know yourself well enough to know that you don't need to keep choosing low effort tasks for that dopamine. Hit over the deep work. Get the deep work. The deep work will give you a deeper dopamine hit than anything else. So this is why in my 3-minute nighttime method, the 3-3 method, which is structured super, super simply. And again, you can grab a 10-minute training video and my actual worksheet and methodology for free. Go to trishblackwell.com/333 method. But it's easy. You can do it on a Post-it. It's 3 gratitudes from the day, 3 wins from the day, and 3 wins for tomorrow. And this creates a grateful spirit. It creates a sense of a self-validating voice of acknowledging that you got things done and seeing yourself as somebody who has momentum. And then it also establishes your priorities, your top 3 priorities for the next day. And that's so critical because then the next morning when you wake up, I look at my 3-3 method. Recording this podcast was on my 3-3 method. I got to tell you, I wasn't feeling inspirational or coachy right before I sat down. But I looked at that. I looked at the rest of my day. It was either a window now or a window at like 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. or a couple hours from now when I know my energy is not going to be the same. So I said, okay, show up, Trish. Focus in, dial in, do the deep work, do the top priority first. I'm so glad I did, because when you do your high value tasks first, everything else accelerates in getting things done. So let's stop choosing low effort tasks over our deep work, and stop focusing on motion and moving things forward versus really, truly having progress. So this is distraction disguised as productivity. I have a couple more categories. There's emotional avoidance, which is sometimes done through, often if you're a high achiever, this is the stuff we do at night when we're like exhausted from the end of the day, or the kids have finally gone to bed. It's scrolling, snacking. Sometimes it's not bad. Sometimes it's cleaning, shopping, planning excessively. Avoiding, what we're doing here is we're avoiding the discomfort of boredom, uncertainty, or self-doubt. And often we then start indulging some of our feelings versus feeling our feelings. And it's distraction designed as coping, disguised as coping. We also can fall into the comparison and imposter syndrome distraction, which is watching what others are doing on social media, measuring ourselves constantly against someone else's success or their highlight reel, drifting from your own lane and trying to chase someone else, or comparing yourself and then just going, oh, who am I to, they're doing that. What's the point? It is so easy to compare and despair. Distraction, sometimes in this category, is disguised as inspiration. We're like, oh, but this stuff really fills me up and inspires me, and she's inspiring me. It's maybe? Maybe. I would rather you self-inspire. And then also there's chronic planning that happens sometimes as our final category of distraction, chronic planning without execution. So we talk a big game, you talk about what you're going to do, you build out elaborate goals and strategies and schedules, and you have the step-by-step and the spreadsheets and the PowerPoints, and you have it all decided, the software in which you're going to throw it out, the people you're going to contact, yet you don't do any of it. We don't start. You know you have this book that you want to write, you know the characters, you know this, but you don't just start. You're loving the vision, but you're avoiding the vulnerability of starting. And so what happens there is we're distracted because we're living in our potential versus not in our progress. I want you to, it's distraction that's disguised as preparation. I want you to live in your progress while believing in your potential. You've got to know what you want. And you've got to remember that attention, your ability to focus, your attention is the currency of your future. And I want you to replace, when you're shifting yourself and you catch yourself with any of these distractions, to say, I'm no longer going to distract. I'm avoiding something uncomfortable here. I need to be radically honest with myself. Am I going to take the bait, or am I going to stay focused? And it's simply, I will not be distracted. Keep saying to yourself, I will not be distracted. There is we have this arcade place that we love to go when we go to our place at the Jersey Shore, and it's called Lucky Leo's. It's at Seaside Heights. And there's one game, and this is a pretty popular arcade game, so I think it's almost anywhere, but it's the Nerf gun one, where there's like, it's a two-player game, and you got this Nerf gun, and it's a laser gun, and you're shooting just the random things on the screen. I love it. Okay, there's two games in an arcade that I love. I love that one, and I love the Claw. Now, my son and I play this Nerf gun game together, and it is so fun, but it's so fast all the time and sometimes I'll have, my daughter will be talking to me. I'm like, baby, I can't be distracted. I got to get this high score. I got to beat your brother. I got blah, blah, blah. And I say to myself in the moment, I can't be distracted right now. I will not be distracted. Or if sometimes I'm playing games with my kids, they'll want, the strategy, think about this. The strategy is to distract somebody. We're huge fans of the classic game Left, Right, Center, where you roll a dice and you got to pay attention to the die and see what lands. And sometimes these kids try to distract me on purpose so I don't see the thing that's going to happen, so I can't win the jackpot. Y'all, I love it because I can say in those moments, y'all, I will not be distracted. You don't know who you're playing against. I'm going to win. I'm going to get that money. We play for $5. I make each kid bring, if we're going to play Left, Right, Center, I'm like, bring $2, go get your wallets. And we play for a couple of dollars. I make them put some skin in the game. And so I want to win that money. And it's fun, but I have to say, it's very normal to say in yourself in the moment, I will not be distracted. I've got my eye on the ball. I've got my eye on this Nerf gun. I got my eye on these die. And so I want you to take that same concept. I'm sure there's a scenario in your life where you've said to yourself, I can focus here. Focus on what matters. I will not be distracted. Driving in the snow, driving in a rainstorm. There's a different type of driving than Sunday afternoon driving on a backcountry road where there's no cars. You could dial in your distraction anytime you want. We say to ourselves, think about what is the narrative you say to yourself when you get in those situations. I'm not going to get distracted. I've got this. Stay focused. Don't worry about that. Worry about this. Eyes on your lane, eyes on the prize, eyes on what you want. But we got to be radically honest with ourselves and remind ourselves, like, sometimes this is going to be easier than others. And so making sure you know your priorities, using the 3-3-3 method is huge. And tracking that for yourself, knowing that you are somebody who is showing up and seeing yourself set priorities and then track those as wins will make you see, wow, like, this is a new me. This is a me that knows what she wants, knows her priorities, is okay letting things go and saying, I have to start saying no to some things in order to say yes to the best things. If you are encouraged by this, I have a journal question for you that I want you to do an open journaling session about, which just basically means grab your journal, write the question at the top of the page, and then respond to it. It is, what am I afraid to face if I stop distracting myself? And another sub question might be, what do I really need to believe in order to stop distracting myself? You might need to believe that big dream, maybe your goal is to make $50,000 a month. Maybe it's to change careers and make $100,000. Maybe it's to make $1 million. Maybe it's to lose 10% body fat. Maybe it's to write a New York Times bestseller. I don't know what the dream is, but I know there's there, and I know the potential's there and the capacity, but the distraction's there too, and you're going to be attacked. We live in a world of distraction. And so the people that achieve great things with their life aren't actually that much more talented or special. They're just willing to not be distracted. And so your ability to fight distraction as an enemy is going to set you apart from the rest of, quote unquote, the competition who might have the same goal as you. And first off and foremost, it's not a pie that's limited. The goal is available to anybody. Here are some affirmations that will help. I give my dreams my full attention. I give my dreams my full attention. I am not easily distracted. Start saying that to yourself. I don't care if you were like the most distracted squirrel person. That was a thing that we say, oh, I just get distracted easily. That might be true, but it does not serve you to keep saying that. I don't get distracted easily. I know what I want. I fix my eyes on what matters to me. I show up what matters. I master discomfort and reject distraction. My focus is fierce, and my future is unfolding as a result. And I refuse to put my dreams on slow motion, on delay. If this episode resonated, again, go get the Journal Mastery Bundle. You can grab it, trishblackwell.com/journal. My affirmation course, trishblackwell.com/affirmations. The free 3-3-3 method is trishblackwell.com/3-3-3 method. And there's so many other great resources. Check the show notes. 2 other episodes that if you want to scroll back in your podcast app that are based on distraction that will add to today's conversation. Get ready. You're going to be shocked at the number. Okay. Episode 37. That's right. Old school. Like, this was 12 years ago. And so it could just be fun for you to listen to. I'm almost embarrassed to say this. Like, I wonder if you can tell a difference in my coaching style from 12 years ago to now. Surely you can. It will be interesting and a good laugh, I'm sure, but there will be value and some gold nuggets in that episode. And it's episode 37. It's called Focus Management, which is the entire episode is about how to manage your focus. You can scroll through whichever app of your choice you're listening to, or my recommendation for the old episodes might just be easier to go straight to my website, trishblackwell.com/37. That should take you right to it. And then episode 233, which, gosh, that might be 7 years ago. That would be focusing in the face of distraction. So that's episode 233, focusing in the face of distraction. And again, you can scroll through your apps and keep scrolling until you get to the 200s, or just go directly to trishblackwell.com/233. I want to remind you, it's such a privilege for me to be a voice of encouragement in your life. If this show encourages you, makes you feel understood, gives you great strategies or tools, please let us know in the reviews, and please share with someone else who's wired like you, who you know would love this kind of growth. And let me know. I'm on Instagram, Trish_Blackwell. You were made for more. Now let's go live like it. Thanks for listening to the Confidence Podcast and allowing me to be your coach today in your life. If you love the show, please let us know by leaving a review in iTunes. Are you encouraged by what you learned? Share this episode with a friend and let us know that the show is changing your life by saying hi to us on social media at Instagram, Trish_Blackwell, or on Facebook, Trish Blackwell Coaching. Ready to take what I teach and really take it to the next level? Join us today in the College of Confidence. It's my group coaching program that you can join risk-free and cancel anytime. In the COC, you'll scale your confidence, your courage, and the changes you make in your life. It's the coaching support and community you've been looking for. Go to www.collegeofconfidence.com to get started. If you love the podcast, you will love the College of Confidence even more and see even more transformation in your life. Come and see for yourself. I'm cheering you on, friend. See you soon.